Kaufman gets plucked from Hollywood, and he wants to be in the wrestling business. Andy Kaufman loved pro wrestling. It just kind of fit him like a glove that he'd be such a good heel. But I love that he ended up feuding with Jerry Lawler in Memphis. Did you kind of feel the same way? Did you think that, man, this is going to be great, and not only that, it's going to catch a lot of mainstream eyeballs?
No, I really didn't. When Andy called me, he was such a nice guy. And he said, I love wrestling, and I've incorporated it into my stand-up comedy routine, but I would just give anything to be able to be in a real wrestling match. And he said, I have crowned myself the intergender champion of the world. And he said, I wrestle in my nightclub act, and it's a shoot. I really think I can beat every woman. And I said, well, Andy, you're in for a rude awakening because you can't. And he said, well, you don't have to pay me. I'll come to Memphis and put up my own money as prize money if you'll just let me wrestle. So he did. And Jerry Lawler and I were standing at the back, and a very stout woman was about to clean his plow and collect his $5,000. So Lawler ran down to the ring and interfered and saved Andy's money, and then that led to Andy just picked up on it and made an impromptu interview, and the crowd went wild. So, we kind of stumbled into the Lawler-Andy match because Andy was not a very big guy and certainly wasn't muscular. But the fans reacted so because he'd made them so mad with his interviews, teaching them how to use toilet tissue and toothbrush,
So
saving the Southern Hicks. So, it turned out just great and drew a lot of money. And Andy was so into the business that he would wear a neck brace back to Hollywood and make interviews about Jerry Lawler and how he'd pile drive him. When we did the angle, he went to the hospital, and my intent was for him to go and then check him out and let him go. Well, he stayed 2 days. He told the doctors, I think my neck's broke. So they kept him and did MRIs and X-rays. And he just, he had the wrestling mentality and loved the business so much that he just sold everything all the time in the ring and out.
I just love how he got it. He got the psychology of wrestling. He's going to stay at the hospital, not to break kayfabe. He just seemed like the perfect fit for the wrestling world.
Yeah, I'm really surprised that somebody had studied Andy Kaufman tapes and tried to at least mimic his interviews because they were classic.
He was so good at making you dislike him. Even when sometimes he'd do his comic routine, he wanted the crowd to boo him, which was just hilarious. I mean, he just knew how to be a heel, and he knew how to, work the crowd, if you will. And he said, a lot of it apparently he got from watching old school wrestling.